I'm going to make a video about smoking. I smoke. Some of my viewers may be aware I'm in the habit of smoking cigarettes. So, first off, maybe I'll just show how I roll a cigarette. Make myself a little area down here. Now, I don't really need a table to do this, but, in fact, make a proper demonstration. I'll just scooch down a bit, and we'll pretend that I don't have a table. Right? Also, I usually have a leather pouch that I keep my tobacco and stuff in, but that's in the other room, and this is to hand. I refill that pouch from this. It's much nicer to have your own leather pouch than to have all of this billboarding and plastic and rubbish, right? So this now, I put it in my mouth. Hold on to it. If you hear my voice changing in some way, then that's because I got a thing in my mouth, and sometimes you might hear me speaking like this when I'm making a video. All right, so we'll put them back in there. These are the papers I use. By the way, I am very, like we say in Spanish, tiquismiquis about my everything, right? I need this tobacco. I need the raw black classic, right? Not the hemp one. I don't like that. I like the classic black. There's an ultra thin, unbleached paper with the proprietary crisscross watermark that prevents uneven burning, so they claim. And I think it does work to some extent. So, here's the thing, right? When you smoke rolling tobacco, to start out, the first part tends to be rather chunky, and then towards the end you get powdery, right? And the chunky stuff, not with this brand, but with all the heritage brands that I grew up with, they're moist, right? So what my friend taught me, you put your hand like this and shake, and automatically the powdery stuff comes out for you. Right? You want to smoke that first, even if it's not always the best. Otherwise, you end up with just a bag of powder at the end. Anyway, this is mostly powdery anyway, because American Spirit is dry and powdery. The cut is also much thicker than the typical European tobaccos, which are cut thinner and more stringy. This is more like the tobacco that you get out of a cigarette. And it's very easy for you to get bits in your mouth. So I use the same, it's the raw brand Tips. Authentic and original, right? Now, there is back rolling, but because these papers are so fine, I don't really back roll anymore. And also, I don't really so much lick it as now I stick it in my mouth and I pull it out like a lollipop or something, right? And I slobber all the way down it. And that adds valuable moisture to the mix because this tobacco is very dry, American Spirit. It's drier for me once I've opened the packet and left the packet open for a day or two than it is when it's freshly opened, wherein it's very dry. And the reason why they have to keep it dry, so dry, is because they can't add moisturizing agents to it. Because if they do, then they would also have to add fungicides and things like that, right? And because they're going for a no additive tobacco thing, which I believe is a very sound idea. Why have any of the 200 plus known carcinogenic chemicals that the tobacco companies were forced to admit that they are adding, have been since the 80s, when I think they admitted it. It was the first major lawsuit, I think. They made them publish. 200 plus known carcinogenic chemicals that they're adding in there. And what does the state do? warnings, right? Now, this warning to me is acceptable. That is true, and it's something to be aware of. But the other thing, man, if you to get into that, I'm gonna have to make a whole nother video, right? So if it's time to smoke this, because now I could, it's hermetic. I could put it. Well, I broke it a little at the end there, but I could pop this in my hat, pop it in my pocket, whatever. Time to smoke it. Bite the end off, and away you go. But you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna cut this with the pipe knife and put it back in the pouch, just to symbolically say, I'm switching. I'm switching over. I'm bored of rolling cigarettes and smoking them so much as I have been, and I'm going to get back into the pipe. So I started smoking cigarettes when I was about 13 years old, and what seems like a long time later in the memory, but it was 2 years later, because I remember I was 15, I got my first pipe. A Peterson. Did I say this already? I've made various takes of this video and I kept failing at it. So now I don't know whether I told the story of the Peterson pipe anymore. Well, I'll tell the whole story, as much as I remember. My dad had a friend, a colleague, or a friendly acquaintance, who owned the Scandic Crown Hotel on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. This is in 1995. So my dad, he rigged me up with a job, a summer job for a month at the Scandic Crown. I was working there every day as a concierge. And every day, without fail, 24 hours, I believe, they had one CD playing in the lobby that I had to listen to the whole time I was there. It was panpipe classics. So it's things like Whitney Houston's version of I Will Always Love You, but done all with synths and synthesized panpipes. So that was, and I got paid £5 an hour. So I was able to save up and get myself a £30 worth of Peterson. And it rather resembled this pipe. Had I think I did already say this, right? Anyway, the mouthpiece here, the pewter, and it was rusticated and gnarly and just gorgeous. And reading Tolkien and fantasizing, wandering around the countryside, skipping out of school. And it takes a long time to smoke a pipe, You can't just hop out and hit it for a couple of minutes. You got to give it a second. Just to light it. If I don't have matches, then I find something else to, this is a toothpick. I could use a wood shaving off the floor. The torch lighters don't work very well for lighting pipes. You gotta be careful. You can burn, you can very easily scorch. You can see this one, I've been careful not to scorch it too hard. This is a Dunhill white spot. It's a nice fire in that barrel, huh? And the barrel is flawless. With this rustication. Yeah. see that this is lined. So you're not actually smoking through bamboo. Easy to clean, maintain. To Savinelli. The color originally really matched this filler to factory second. Anyway, it's well smoked in now, so it's got this, it's changed color a lot. Chestnut thing going on. So, this is a pipe knife. Here's a tamper. Use that for tamping. Here's a poker, which is used for poking, dottling, you know, that kind of thing. And this blade is made for maintaining your carbon cake. The carbon layer that builds up on the inside of a pipe, there are various reasons why you don't want that to get too thick. Some people like it thicker, some people like it thinner, but if you don't want to just build it till you can't smoke anymore and then smash the whole thing out and start again, you kind of got to maintain it. So at this point, this is really pretty much done. What I can do is just leave a little plug down there in the bottom. Now, something that you may not be aware about Sherlock Holmes' habits, some of you may be aware, is that because this is this plug that I've left at the bottom, some people, you know, make a point of when they pack the pipe, packing a tighter plug down at the bottom here, and then you switch out, you know, the ashes, and once you're pretty much done up the top, you switch out. You keep that plug, and you're kind of reusing that, as it were, as a kind of a filter or what have you. You know, so it gets absorbs a lot of the tar and a lot of the moisture and so forth. And at the end of the day, you pop that plug out with your poker, because you tamped it in well with your tamper. You got to pop it out with the poker. And Sherlock Holmes would put those. Also, now, if you've got a semi-smoked pipe like what I just did, and you have little flakes of kind of half vaporized, half charred tobacco still kicking around, that's your dottle, right? So if you're just removing that, stirring it around or whatever, you're dottling. So he would save his dottles and his plugs in a slipper on the mantelpiece. And that would be his first smoke of the day, right? And it's brilliant because that part, it's like when you smoke a cigar. When I smoke a cigar, unless it's just too big and let's say if I smoke a good cigar and I want to enjoy it all the way to the end, all goes well, I smoke it until the cherry is bigger than what I'm holding on to, right? I smoke it until there's nothing left to hold on to. And even that, I'm still trying to smoke on it. So after the first pass there with the flame, I'll give it a little tamp. And then the next light will really take. Yeah, so that tobacco is saturated with nicotine at the end of the cigar. And likewise, if you had a plug and you've been smoking through it all day, and the next day for the morning, you get all your plugs and you smoke them. Imagine the hit in the morning, right? Especially plus coffee. I bet that had Sherlock running straight to the toilet. So, I've gone on longer than I should, I expect. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And maybe I'll do some more pipe stuff. I have more pipes and things kicking around somewhere, but this is just what I had to hand. And I thought, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to out with this stuff. Just throw that in the hearth there. And we'll just be mainly switching over to pipe smoking, I reckon. Because instead of then hitting the cigarette, you know, you smoke one, it takes a couple of minutes, and then, you know, then 5 minutes later you want to smoke another one, and just, you know, after a big meal, at the evening, before dinner, you know, whatever. Get the pipe out, have a proper old smoke, and then get on. Thanks for watching.